Lalitha Kumaramangalam, Priyanka Chaturvedi and Vasundhra Pathak Masoodi are Chairperson, NCW, Spokesperson of the Congress and Supreme Court Advocate respectively. Thank you very much. And they are against this documentary being put on air. I'm also told Khusboo is also against the documentary to be put on air, though I'm not sure if that is her complete view. She'll speak for herself. She's an actor and activist. V K Anand is an advocate in the Supreme Court. He's a lawyer for one of those convicted in the Nirbhaya case. And T.R. Kakkar, former police commissioner of Delhi. I'd like to begin by asking Khusboo, what are your views on this as far as the airing of this documentary is concerned, which gives an open platform to the rapist. In the name of exposing rapists, can you put out, the rapist interview, plug it as an exclusive and use it to promote the film itself? Khusboo.
I wouldn't agree as the promotion, but yes, the questions which is raised first and foremost is how did the people get the permission to take an interview of the rapist who is serving a term in the jail. Secondly, it shows the mindset of the rapist as to his not even remotely or remotely regretful, shameful of the act, what he has done, the heinous crime, what he has committed. And he still wants to blame the woman, saying that, okay, dono ka barabar ka hissedari hoti hai, it's a 50-50 thing. And I think the kind of talks what he has given out, the major portion that has been highlighted for a very long time now, I think for the last 24 hours, as to how he has spoken to this BBC channel, I think it's absolutely shameful.
No, in your view, should BBC and NDTV air this interview? In your view, should BBC and NDTV air this interview?
It's a documentary. No,
this documentary, yes.
It's a documentary which...
Yes.
It's a documentary. It's not one-to-one interview. It's a documentary.
But it features... But the centerpiece of the documentary is the version of the rapist.
The center... Let's make it very clear that the lady who has done this interview, she herself is a rape victim. So we will have to find out on what basis she wanted. Probably
No. 1 second. The fact is, people can say now this interview was recorded before the person, Nirbhaya's rapist, was convicted. Lalitha Kumaramangalam.
Not before Nirbhaya's case. We all know it's after. It was just done recently. Let's not put a sham on saying that it was done before the Nirbhaya
so we agree.
Case.
So we agree then, Khusboo, that the issue is not. Yes, of course, we must investigate how the interview happened. But my question today is, Lalitha Kumaramangalam, here is a channel which is putting on air the views of a convicted rapist who has no remorse for doing what he did. So you are allowing a man an opportunity to justify his crime and gain vicarious pleasure out of his views being put out in the public domain. I mean, this is actually going to encourage rapists.
Exactly.
And you can't put it out in the name of exposing the rapist.
I think that this is absolutely wrong and extraordinarily unethical of whichever channel, whether it's a national channel or an international channel, regardless of how good these channels are considered to be otherwise, to be airing anything like this. First, it shows utter disregard and disrespect for any woman who may have been raped, regardless of whether this has been done after Nirbhaya was raped or before. And the fact to go on emphasizing that this man has had the gall and has said something as reprehensible enough as saying that if she had just lain back and allowed herself to be raped, she wouldn't have been killed. In future, what people like me would do is we'll rape and kill. I mean, I can't find the words to condemn it enough.
And what is worse?
It's disgusting.
What is also...
no channel who claims to be Indian should do it.
Absolutely.
They're talking about raping of Indian woman. He claims that the girl wasn't dressed. Come on, she was wearing a salwar kameez, and in any case, dress has nothing to do with a woman's right not to be raped or violated in any way.
Miss Kumaramangalam, 1 minute, please. Miss Kumaramangalam, whatever she's wearing, that's not the issue here. The issue here is very simple. This country had risen up when Nirbhaya was raped. Today you can't get so desperate to get eyeballs that you are going to allow everything and anything to go on air. For example, let me share here. I want Vasundhra Pathak to come in. You see Vasundhra.
Unethical. It's also.
I just want to get Vasundhra in.
Let me just say this. This is not only unethical, it's extremely immoral according to me.
Yeah, so you see, I also want Vasundhra to come in. I'm going to come to you, V K Anand, in just a bit. What I find disgusting as well, horrible, disgusting here, is that this filmmaker who is putting her documentary out on BBC and NDTV, and ironically on Women's Day, on Women's Day, you will put out this voyeuristic documentary, allows a 34-year-old man to describe in obnoxious detail how he raped a 10-year-old girl. And this documentary filmmaker, who says, I am a rape victim myself, goes on to talk about in great detail how this person raped a 10-year-old girl. And then they say, Vasundhara, that we are doing so because we want to expose rapists. Do you feel this argument works? That we are not giving them a platform, we actually want to expose them. Do you think this argument works? Vasundhara?
Mr. Goswami, before I say anything on that, I must express my heartfelt anguish over the fact that the time when this interview specifically has been conducted. I will take a per contra stand to what Khusboo has said just a second before or minutes before on your show. I'm not concerned whether there was a permission. I'm not concerned whether it was legal or an illegal act to take an interview of an accused person.
Sure.
Because our law is so stable and generous enough, it even provides the right to be heard to express his views or her views under Article 19 of our Constitution. Having said that, I'm more concerned with the fact that the promotion which has given to such kind of heinous crimes, to such kind of shameful acts, I'm more concerned the promotion it is giving to such kind of offenses.
Why do you feel it promotes it? I would certainly want Khusboo to respond to you, but why don't you tell me why you feel it promotes an act of rape?
Yes, absolutely, because all through the day, the selective experts that have been making the rounds have been found to be victim bashing, because this person doesn't go on shamefully confessing what he has done. Instead of being regretful of what he has done, he goes on to say that women are responsible for such a conduct having done to themselves.
Yes, you are right. You are right.
Yeah, this is something very injurious which has been done to entire women folk of this country.
Absolutely. Well, Vasundhara, yes, I think I'd like to get Priyanka Chaturvedi also on this. But yes, I take your point, Priyanka. Before I come to you, what you are doing is you are giving a rapist an opportunity to explain and justify his actions. So tomorrow you will allow a pedophile to justify his actions, and when a pedophile justifies, a pedophile will say tomorrow the children deserved to be assaulted. And then you will put out a documentary saying we're actually exposing the pedophile. I mean, this is absolutely insane, Priyanka. But I feel very horrified today that people are still justifying until now, not pulling back the documentary on their own. Priyanka Chaturvedi, where do you stand on this?
No, very honestly, even I'm quite sickened and disgusted with the entire idea of giving a voice or giving a platform to a criminal who's convicted of a heinous crime. Now, even if we talk about, giving them a chance to speak what they feel about what they've done, do they feel any repentance? All I'd like to say is they stood exposed on December 16th when they committed a crime like this. I do not know what the documentary would end up proving, or what it would end up showing, or how it would end up exposing such mindset. We know such mindset exists in our society. We also know that we need to work on it. But what I do not understand is how this documentary aids in, exposing this filth that exists around us. It's extremely unfortunate.
No, this whole silly argument.
Perspective is given.
No, I'll tell you. Priyanka, the silly argument is being put out. A very silly argument is being put out that please understand we are doing all this to expose the rapists. As if people don't know. As if people don't know Vasundhara ji and Lalitha Kumaramangalam. As if we don't know what is in the mind of a rapist. The Supreme Court had said in the Nirbhaya case that the extreme mental perversion is not worthy of human condemnation.
Mr. Goswami,
but why they have not
Mr. Goswami,
yet? Why they have not been punished yet? Why do we have the cases?
I agree, but are you telling me? No, are you telling me this? Are you telling me? No, are you telling me? Khusboo.
Locked away for good. Nobody should be able to even see their faces or hear their voices.
Khusboo, the point is, I take your point. Why have they not been punished yet? Why have they not been hung yet? But you tell me today, allowing that same person who has carried out what the Supreme Court said is unprovoked crime, demonstrated exceptional depravity in their minds, allowing them to justify the rape of the victim, allowing the rapist to blame the victim, not the perpetrator, allowing the rapist to graphically explain how the rape unfolded, and in doing so create a situation where victims of rape watching the coverage will be forced to relive the trauma they go through. You tell me, how does this help get the rapist punished? The rapist has already been punished. I am not...
The rapist has already been punished. Correct me, Arnab, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
The person who is going to be fighting for the rapist, whoever the perpetrator is on the show with you on the debate, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, so he will know very clearly.
No. My question to you. I'm going to go to him. I'm going to go to him. I'm going to go to him. But one second. But one second.
Mindset. It makes it clear. It makes it very clear
Nirbhaya.
for the court. It makes it very clear for the law to understand this man does not deserve
questioning
any kind of sympathy to even argue the case.
Khusboo, I am asking here basic question of common sense.
December 16th,
I am.
they deserve no
what are we doing now?
They
Yes,
deserve the
Arnab,
harshest punishment that can be meted out to them. We've come up with laws. Why shouldn't we ensure that speedy justice is given to Nirbhaya?
He does not deserve to live. You ask me, I will say he needs a capital punishment. He has to go to the gallows. There are no two ways about it. A man who brutally rapes a woman needs to go to the gallows immediately. You don't have to run cases against him. You don't have to spend on him. You don't need to waste the time of the law and the court on him. He needs to go to the gallows. I am saying, what are we doing today here? Even here we are discussing about him. We are highlighting him. We are highlighting what he spoke. We are talking as to how he raped.
I'll tell you. 1 second, please. Just let us be very clear about a couple of points here, Khusboo. Nobody is highlighting it. We are part of a movement. We should stop the telecast of this particular interview. And I'm saying here, 1 second.
Arnab,
even if it is a clip.
We should stop, but I'm saying we have been talking. People have been tweeting. People have been on FB. People have been telling me this is what we have been discussing.
Yes, because the channels concerned, because the channels concerned have been doing exceptional publicity over this. And the documentary filmmaker,
This is Arnab, documentary.
Rethinking and
okay, so Khusboo, you want this documentary to go on air, right? That's your point. You want this documentary to go on air.
I'm not saying, wait, let's see, it's not about going on air. Let's see, it's not an
You
interview.
want BBC and NDTV to air this?
Let's not, no.
You want BBC and NDTV to air this so that, I mean, 1 minute, Khusboo, 1 minute, please. You interview a rapist.
Yes. Arnab,
1 minute, one second. You interview a rapist. You have complete access to what he said. You are in a position to weigh the consequences of airing his views and ascertain the impact it can have, not just on the victim's family and others who have been at the receiving end of a brutal crime.
He knows about the impact of what Nirbhaya had. Please tell me if there has been no rape after Nirbhaya cases. Every day we read about it. So it's not that this interview is going to make a difference. This shows this interview or whatever he is.
Of course it will make a difference. Of course it will make a difference. Of course it will make a difference. I'm sorry, Khusboo. I am really sorry. I am really sorry, Khusboo.
We are discussing word by word.
Okay.
We are discussing word by word as to what
Those of
he's
us who
saying.
may have not been raped, who've been fortunate enough to escape this, can afford to say this. But if somebody is a rape victim, how would they watch this with equanimity? How do you think those people
I'd like to ask Ms. Kumaramangalam as the chairperson of NCW. Ms. Kumaramangalam,
one at a time, please.
Sitting on an
Ms. Kumaramangalam.
Ms. Kumaramangalam, I would like to know that whatever we have been instigating the people to see to view the complete documentary. We are responsible. We are sitting here and discussing about it, and we are getting responsible.
It's not broadcasted. I would want to know from you. While it's fair
I'm really sorry. No, 1 second. Khusboo, 1 minute. Let me make one thing very clear. No, Khusboo, 1 minute, please. No, I'll tell you one thing. Nobody, I say nobody, no right-thinking Indian will waste his time watching an interview of a pervert. And what I'm saying also, Khusboo, no, one minute. What is my point? My point is, you are saying we want to reform society by putting out an interview of a rapist where he defames the victim. He defames the victim.
No.
You are allowing defamation. You are allowing Nirbhaya to be defamed. You are allowing, how do you allow, no, 1 second, please, Khusboo, 1 minute. Khusboo, please, let me reiterate my point. My problem is, you are encouraging rapists by allowing a rapist to describe how he raped a 10-year-old child, allowing a rapist to describe how he raped Nirbhaya. And 1 second, more than that, you tell me, what form of journalism is this? I too am a journalist. This is not journalism. This is journalism being turned upside down. This is immoral. This is unethical. You cannot tell me today. We too were part of the Nirbhaya movement in our own way. We too were part of the Nirbhaya movement in our own way. You were and I was. We all were. We raised our voice. But we never thought at any point of time. We never thought at any point of time, Khusboo, that a day would come today when somebody would say, please tell me how you raped Nirbhaya. What exactly happened? What was going on in your mind? Come and defame the victim a little bit more, and we'll put it as part of a documentary to expose the rapist.
No, I would like to
What kind of journalism is this?
This shows, wait, let me finish.
What is this? Is this the only way to tackle rape?
For me,
I don't understand this. I'm going to put this question to the viewers tonight.
Confirms my faith into law, saying that after looking at this tape, court and law and our order, the judiciary system is not going to wait even a minute longer before putting this man into gallows. Because
the judicial system is this. No, 1 second, 1 minute. So we come to a conclusion. No, Khusboo, 1 minute. I put this to Lalitha Kumaramangalam. The argument being put is, we are being good Samaritans by giving this rapist an opportunity. So tell me today, 1 minute. There is, I do not want to read out the kind of rotten rubbish which has been allowed to be put out. In fact, the documentary filmmaker is quoted as saying, the documentary filmmaker is quoted as saying, the documentary filmmaker has allowed one of the rapists, another rapist, please let me hear this. People need to hear this. If this is journalism, this is changing society, then I think God save our profession. I repeat, this is not journalism. This is voyeurism, this is titillation. And I'm saying this, you know what? A rapist is allowed to describe in detail what he did to a 10-year-old child, and then allowed to quote, and I'll just quote one part. The rapist says, she was a beggar girl. Her life had no value. A rapist is allowed to say, and the documentary filmmaker says, this is part of my sociological analysis of the phenomenon of rape.
Arnab,
I'm really sorry. This really upsets me. And I want Lalitha Kumaramangalam to come back on this. This is tripe.
These words,
Lalitha Kumaramangalam.
I agree with you, and this is not what should be aired, and this is not what journalism should be about. Journalism is not supposed to take the side of one of the most of the scum of this earth. The journalism is supposed to protect the rights and the dignity of those who are decent, honest, God-fearing people. People like this should not be given the time of day, and this is regardless of what chair anybody may occupy. And since I couldn't hear any of the questions that the other people were asking, but yes, I occupy a chair. We have already talked to the Delhi police, and we were very happy that the Home Ministry is taking some stringent action and that they are going to go to court to try and stop the airing of this documentary. But on a personal note, as a woman from India or from anywhere in the world, I am absolutely appalled that journalism in India has come to this low, that we are going to use all sorts of excuses, whatever they may be the explanations. What is the need to give the time of day? Forget about airtime on one of the major national televisions to a disgusting person like this, a man who has no shame. And I mean, it's like everybody is extolling him. What for? What human rights does he have? He's worse than human. It's a shame to even call him a human being. And it's all very well for people, to sit in the armchairs and pass opinion on, it should be done, freedom of speech, blah, blah, blah. Think about the poor girls who've been raped, who live a dying death, I mean, who live a sort of living death every day. If this rape victim had not got justice, then do you think she would be doing something like this with little children?
You know, the Supreme Court said, the Supreme Court said, I'd like to now get T.R. Kakkar and V K Anand in. I want to get T.R. Kakkar and V K Anand into this debate. I would like to quote out what the Supreme Court said. Ladies, please, 1 minute. I'd like to quote what the Supreme Court said. The Supreme Court had said in this case, and I quote, "The crime of such nature against a helpless woman per se requires exemplary punishment. I may leave here while saying that the gravity of the incident depicts the hair-raising, beastly and unparalleled behavior. This is only part of the various observations of the court in this particular case." My first question goes across now to V K Anand, who is the lawyer for those convicted in the Nirbhaya case. Mr. Anand, you are the defense lawyer for Mukesh Singh, one of the rapists. As his lawyer, did you agree to this interview? Did you know about this interview, which has been part of this documentary?
Sir, question is this. First of all, I absolutely condemn the act of the channel itself, because first of all, I am unable to understand when the matter is sub judice, how the things ultimately now being happened, how the interview ultimately was taken, and now how they are now there to ultimately telecast the same. The matter is still pending, appeal is still pending, and it is a continuous process. So first of all, whether question is this. When the matter is sub judice, they should not be allowed. And on the other hand, even otherwise, the matter is not sub judice. This act is not ultimately allowed to be published, to be telecast at any court. No doubt, I understand whether the convict has also a fundamental right, freedom of expression, but it does not mean that will ultimately affect the society at large. I totally disagree with this interview, whatever I have heard that debate itself. So my ultimate submission is, my ultimate view of this interview should not be allowed to go further, and it should be stayed at any cost, because it will harm the public at large itself. On the other hand, I will also suggest, I am unable to understand, in the present case, because I was part and parcel and was the leading counsel in this case, I am unable to understand how Mukesh has ultimately given such an interview. I don't know. You know, this interview A happened. B, there was, as far as I know, a legal notice was sent to one of the channels. I have also filed.
No, but I am going beyond it now, because whatever has happened has happened. One should investigate it, right, Mr. Kakkar? For you, what is the bigger issue here? How the interview happened, Mr. Kakkar? Or whether the interview, given the context of the public debate around it now, whether that interview as part of the documentary should be put on air now?
Arnab, I've been listening to this debate for almost 30 minutes now. The learned ladies have a lot to say. I will only touch on the legality of the interview. I only know that whenever a foreign producer submits a script for making a film or a documentary in India, it goes to the Ministry of Information, and the Ministry of Information has a panel of bureaucrats who look at the scripts and then advise whether this should be permitted or not permitted, and if permitted, what are the other things that must be attached to it, that there must be a liaison officer who should ensure that these little things should not come into the picture or in the script. And thereafter the permission is given. In this case, because this has happened in the Tihar jail, permission either of the government of Delhi or the Ministry of Home Affairs is necessary. I wonder if such a permission was given and why it was given. Now, having said that, the culprit, this man, obnoxious behavior of this man, and his entire interview, which has been recorded by this BBC journalist, as it is so obnoxious that it by itself, if it is aired, it makes an offence.
Absolutely.
And rightly so, Delhi police has now registered a case. And the next step is to see that it doesn't come on the air. I'm very happy that the Times now is also helping the administration, the Delhi police, to make sure that this does not go on the air as it is planned on the 8th of March. It should not, because an issue which shook the conscience of the entire nation, where we were all concerned as Indians that at the behavior of these rapists, that the same thing is once again being highlighted, and people are being highlighted, those culprits are being highlighted.
No, but this
should not be permitted.
No, as far
and
as
why
the BBC...
permission was given, now that is worth investigating.
Sure, but
how permission was given and why due care was not exercised.
Okay, now here's it. The BBC got permission to interview this man, but the decision to air was only subject to the Tihar jail authorities approving it. That approval, as per reports, has not come. So the BBC appears to be in conflict of the rules by going ahead and deciding to air it, including NDTV in this case, which is also
therefore
airing
a case has to be registered under the relevant section of the law, and can even be arrested.
Now, Mr. Kakkar, I want to make this up because people keep talking. The BBC talks a lot about its own editorial guidelines. My information is, and I would like to know from the BBC, that the editorial guidelines of the BBC 8.4.16, I have a quote which says, when interviewing criminals, care must be taken to minimize the potential distress this may cause to victims of the crime or their relatives. This is BBC's own guidelines. Lalitha Kumaramangalam.
Obviously.
It also says in the case of prisoners convicted of serious crimes, particularly violent crimes, due consideration must be given of minimizing the possible distress that an interview may cause to a victim or victim's family, including all other victims of rape in India. So now my question is, Lalitha Kumaramangalam, these are the BBC's own internal guidelines. Because this matter is put in India.
Yeah, they should be taken to court over
So they have another set of standards for Great Britain. Another set of standards for India.
Are these guidelines for India or only for Britain?
My biggest problem with this whole matter, Ms. Kumaramangalam, is that
women in India at all if they have done something like this?
There is
even if they have it for Britain,
Mr. Kakkar,
they have committed an offence in India, and therefore IPC is attracted. They must be taken to task for airing such these views on
it's
in
good
India.
that they be taken to court. I think BBC must understand that they can't get away with anything and everything. They can't assume this laissez-faire sort of attitude that they seem to be showing.
Let them raise hue and cry, and let us not bother about it. Our law must be implemented in this case.
This is it, Khusboo, this is the point. Khusboo, no, one second. Khusboo, only one point. Khusboo, one point. Just one point.
Just to go on air. My point is, nobody's in the favor of, okay, let it go on air, let everybody...
Why should it go on air? No, why should it go on air? How can it go on air? How can it go on air?
No, it is not.
No, one second. TR Kakkar is countering you. TR Kakkar is countering you. TR Kakkar is countering you. Yes, Mr. Kakkar.
Why should it go on the air?
Nobody is saying let's go
on air. Is it not enough that we have suffered, the nation has suffered so much because of this incident? Once again, if it goes on the air, it is going to... There are a large number of people who may have otherwise not known the details, will come to know the horrid details of this entire case, which must be avoided at all costs. And Times now, I sort of salute you for taking up this issue.
Well, we always take up issues.
Going on air with this is going to cause a lot of pain to a lot of people. I am saying we are highlighting the issue again and again by talking about it. What this man has...
Ma'am, we are talking about this... No, one second. 1 minute. No, Khusboo.
Either you talk or I talk.
Khusboo,
Let me finish what I have to say. No, let me finish what I have to say, Arnab. Nobody is saying allow this to go on air. Nobody is saying allow this to go on air. I am saying when the cases have filed, it should not be against the person who's taken the interview or who's made this documentary or a particular independent channel. I think every person involved, because until and unless they do not get the help of the police, until and unless they do not get the help of people in Tihar jail, you cannot go and take an interview of a person who is convicted of such a heinous crime. I say everybody should be...
Mr. Kakkar.
Somewhere somebody has made a flaw and that needs to be investigated, and even the person who permitted this in violation of the law should be punished.
They are flouting the law.
But that is a different issue altogether. should this go on the
Nobody's
air?
Nobody's
No,
saying let this
not
go on
at
air.
all.
Nobody's saying let this go on the air. Nobody's saying let this go on the air. But I am saying the law and order should take this as a chance and say a man who is
No, I have a
of
no. I am on the I am on a fundamental issue. I am on a fundamental issue. One sec, Khusboo, I am hold.
But the fact is, how can any broadcaster even think of something as disgusting an idea as
Pathetic.
this? Well before police gave permission, etc., and that huge mistake was made. How could any broadcaster worth their name even think of doing something like this?
Yes, and
this
you
is
see,
not a documentary.
No.
It's more like a voyeurism.
What happens here is what happens here is we look at from Nirbhaya's perspective. One, Priyanka, I'm coming to you. I just want to make one point. Please allow me.
All I'd like to tell Ms. Kumaramangalam is all I'd like to tell Ms. Kumaramangalam is, as part of a documentary, they might interview somebody, but does not mean it gives them the journalistic freedom to go and air or give him that platform to voice whatever he had to say. They could have very well gone ahead and said that he's still unrepentant about the crime. He's still unrepentant about the crime. But don't give him that platform.
What I'm saying,
don't give. So there's a difference.
No.
Even journalists need to have a sense of responsibility on how they end up, showing the documentary. It's
May I go back to Vasundhra? May I go back to Vasundhra and I just make a couple of points, please, if you allow me. If you allow me, please. If you allow me, please. I am asking tonight, where are all the women's activists? There are a lot of women activists in our country. I think they need to understand a simple couple of points which I'm making tonight. If they choose to be silent on this, that silence will be deafening. In this particular case, I want to highlight that the documentary filmmaker also of this documentary, which is going to be aired on NDTV and what is this other channel called, BBC. This documentary filmmaker interviews a rapist of a 10-year-old child. The child is living. The child did not die. The child survived the crime. And the person says in this interview, 1 minute, the rapist says that this girl was a beggar girl. Her life is of no value. Now look at it from the other very human perspective. And I don't know how people who so-called run channels don't understand this basic point. Nirbhaya is no more.
Mr.
1 second. Nirbhaya is no more. But does it behove any channel to be allowing statements to be made about Nirbhaya that are an assault on her own individual privacy? In this case, the rapist goes and describes in detail how he the act of rape on Nirbhaya. And then goes on to describe how he raped, another person describes how he raped a 10-year-old girl, describes it. The child is living. The documentary filmmaker must be insane not to understand the fact that this is the greatest act of desecration of the rights of privacy of any individual, leave alone an individual who is a victim of rape. I don't understand how lawyers and journalists and activists pretend not to understand this point tonight. If this documentary goes on air, I'm saying this openly tonight, it will be the greatest perversion in the name of journalism. And I will take a few calls tonight.
Absolutely.
Vasundhra, please, want to say something.
Further.
Vasundhra. Yes, Vasundhra.
Mr. Goswami, this interview not only underscores the pervasiveness by promoting a victim-bashing theory, it also has a serious danger hidden in it. If you go by the excerpts of the interview, you will find that this person who has committed this horrendous and shameful act has not even had an iota of regret of what he has done.
None.
And instead of issuing a caveat to the prospective offenders, what this gentleman has done is to issue a warning to the women folk of this
Exactly.
country.
Exactly. I agree with you thoroughly, Vasundhra.
Almost boastful at times.
Yes.
And this is what is hurting me, that throughout the day, the story with regards to these statements have been making the rounds. Why so? This is the high time where we all, including you and all the channels, need to introspect that there is a high time to frame the guidelines for media restraint. And I'm thankful to you, Mr. Goswami, for holding and conducting this show today and espousing and equally standing with us. One
minute. There are all. When we expose the corrupt, they say this is bad journalism. When we ask questions on behalf of the citizen, they say this is journalism that must learn to restrain itself. When we question the politicians, they say, hold yourself back. Do you want to be court, jury, and executioner? Now, my question tonight is simply this. I am asking tonight, what on earth is this form of journalism? This form of barbaric journalism where you air an interview. And I am asking this question to the viewer tonight. Would you accept a channel
as far
tomorrow?
as this particular question is concerned, Mr. Goswami, I would like to answer you on that.
Yes, Vasundhra.
When we talk of a restraint by journalists, we mean that they should assess the entire situation, whether it has the potentiality, whether it has the capacity to mold or to tilt the public opinion.
Yes. And I want to share one more thing at this point. What is most shocking, and I really think the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting in this case must intervene. No, I have information.
Telecasting this interview, the message which is going to be highlighted is not the travesty what Nirbhaya has met.
No, I want to just make one point.
Let me please complete.
No.
Let me please complete. Let me please complete.
I want to share something.
By allowing this interview to continue, what we would be doing is not only highlight the perversion, the monstrous act which has been committed by this monster, but we would be also allowing a kind of a subtle warning to the women folk as to mind their own conduct, then to issue a caveat to the prospective offenders that they should feel regretful of such kind of offences before they even think of it.
No, 1 second. What is most shocking here, and I want to share a bit of news. I am told that this particular film is going to be used as advocacy material in some schools in Maharashtra. Some people are talking about it. 1 minute. So, God save us. Tomorrow in the schools in Maharashtra, I'm telling you, Lalitha Kumaramangalam intervene. In the schools in Maharashtra, T.R. Kakkar, this film will be shown to impressionable minds. Impressionable minds where rapists, interviews with rapists will be put out where they defame the victims. Mr. Kakkar.
Stop these channels from broadcasting
Mr. Kakkar.
anywhere in India.
Yes, Mr. Kakkar.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Kakkar.
I am saying that Ministry of Information and Broadcasting has the powers to block such interviews or such broadcasts, because this should not be allowed to interview.
Okay, so here's one question.
Anywhere in India.
Here's one question. There are some
legal
people.
Consequences.
No. One second. There are some people.
I'm sure the BBC will go
Just a.
I am saying what the government has to do, why a channel is doing it.
To be aired.
Now, 1 sec. 1 sec, please. Just a minute, please. Khusboo, hold back. Just my simple question is this tonight, and this question needs to go to both the documentary filmmaker and the channel. Would you tomorrow, and there are some people who are saying freedom of expression. This is not a case of freedom of expression because, and let me explain.
I am not even talking
No, one sec. No, Khusboo, just a minute. I'm just explaining one point. Ask yourself today, would you allow someone to air an interview with a pedophile who describes his act of assault on a young child? Now, even if you try to justify it by saying our intention is to highlight the perverse mindset, the fact is that there is a perverse mindset is well known. Airing explicit details only tantamounts to forcing those who have been at the receiving end of such crimes to relive such a traumatic experience. This just does not work. Mr. Anand wanted to come in. Yes, Mr. Anand.
I wanted to say one thing is that even it goes publication, it will go against the Mukesh itself, because in his case before the court itself, he has ultimately helped the judicial system. He has to come forward with all truth itself. So in case this publication should go in court,
from an accused.
It will.
1 minute.
No. Question is this. So it also go against the Mukesh itself.
Of a rape.
Journalism is not supposed to be.
No, question is this. As the matter is sub judice before the court.
Question is
We
And
don't
that is
need help
enough
from
for us.
Mukesh. Mr. Anand, Mr.
Sir,
Anand.
question is this.
Mr.
If
Anand.
you go to the, I have just brought the file itself in which he has admitted that he was only driving the bus itself after drinking
No, one
liquor.
second. Don't use this channel to build your. 1 second. No, Mr.
no,
Anand.
sir, question is this.
Mr. Anand,
Question is this.
Mr. Anand, hold back. 1 second, Mr. Anand.
Please
Mr. Anand, do not use this channel. Do not use this channel.
From doing this, this can't be allowed on national television.
One at a time.
I mean,
This
we are
will
not
go
here to
against him
defend
also.
Mr. Anand, I will not allow you. Mr. Anand, I will not allow you. I will not allow you, period. Now, please stop.
Rather doing good.
What are you saying, Mr. Anand, that he was just driving
No,
a
so
bus?
I
No, don't do this. I will not allow
No,
you to.
please do
I will not
discuss
allow
the
you.
merit of his case.
None of us even bother to discuss that point.
That is not
We
a
should
point
not
of discussion
try and
today.
give free Phuket publicity to this guy who was supposedly, according to his lawyer, not.
I have a couple of callers, and I have S. Saxena from Gurgaon tonight.
Mr. Goswami.
From Gurgaon tonight, S. Saxena is a professional. Mr. Saxena, good evening. Sorry to keep you waiting, sir.
Good evening, Arnab. Good evening, Arnab.
Good evening. Good evening.
Sir, first of all, I really feel happy that Times Now is the only channel who is really become the voice of people. I am shocked and surprised how this NDTV and BBC went ahead in airing such kind of channels.
They have not. They have aired clips yet. They haven't aired the full thing yet. They've aired clips,
Okay.
not the full
Sir,
thing yet. Yeah.
Sir, if we go to the crux of the matter, they want to tell people, they want to tell a message to our girls, they want to air a message to our daughters that if someone rapes you, please get raped. Please get raped, else he is going to kill you. How can they do that? Means they say because she resisted, she was killed. It means it implies would that she had not resisted, she has been alive. See, now media controls the brain. How can they do that?
I
Don't
take your
they have
point, Mr. Saxena. I am as angry as you are on this subject. Honestly, I empathize with everything that you say, and I too am a journalist. I don't understand what kind of journalism this is. Mr. Kakkar wants to say something to you. Yes, Mr. Kakkar, please. Over to you.
Arnab, the immediate thing is that now that the case has been registered under relevant section of the laws, this film can be seized by the police. The person who has done this can be arrested, unmindful of the consequences. They will go to the court, they'll raise hue and cry. I am just not bothered. My job is to make sure that this does not come on the air, whether it is NDTV or BBC.
Yeah, I heard some information, Mr. Kakkar, I want to share tonight that I was just told.
I was just told, and I will make sure that I take them behind the bars.
Well, Mr. Kakkar, thanks for your views. I just told some breaking news came in. I was told the Union Home Minister Rajnath Singh has taken pretty strong views on what is going on and the plans to air a documentary which puts out excerpts of the rapist's interview and allows him to desecrate and defame the victim in the manner that he has. I have been informed that the Union Home Minister Rajnath Singh is going to be making a suo motu statement on this very, very major issue of concern, this big issue of concern tomorrow morning in Parliament. So obviously this is having some impact. And I'll tell you this, that if this documentary, if you need to fight rape and rapists and expose them, there are 1,000 and a million ways of doing it rather than by giving free publicity to a pervert. Anju Sharma is calling in from Kanpur. Anju Sharma ji, good evening. She's a teacher. Anju Sharma ji, good evening.
Hello, good evening, Arnab. Good evening.
Good evening.
You're doing a wonderful job, and I congratulate you for this.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, I'm a school teacher in Delhi Public.
Yes.
I want to ask one question from Miss Khusboo.
Yes.
That she wants that it will be like a merit, people should know what's happening or what happened. Actually, I want to ask one thing. Are you talking about only the metropolitan or the cosmopolitan cities tonight? Or you are talking about those small towns?
I have not spoken about. Allow it to go on air.
Khusboo letter.
Khusboo letter. I have not
Khusboo
said.
letter.
No. Let me correct her. I have not said let it allow to go on air.
No, ma'am, one more thing. I want to ask you that if at all you say this should be shown or this should come to the public, tell me what about those small people in towns, the criminals, those are there, the criminal perverted mind people, those are still there, and what they will do? They'll stand up and say, oh no, we have done because of so and so reason. sorry, ma'am, I don't agree to it.
Ma'am, you have not been following. I never said let it go on air.
And where you are living, ma'am, that society and our society is very, very backward. You know,
I am
stand up and
as
say,
responsible as you are. But let me make it clear, I never said let it go on air. I said this documentary shows the pervert mind of the
Don't
rapist.
we know about it?
Shows the
Don't we know about it?
Of the rapist.
I'm sorry, don't we know about it, Khusboo? No, don't we know about it?
And then kill her almost. Of course we know they are perverted. We don't need to see this documentary or even hear about it to know the perverted.
We knew...
Khusboo, one second, one at a time. Priyanka and Mr. Kakkar, I'll let you come in after. Priyanka, please, Priyanka is saying something to you. Khusboo, 5 minutes left, Priyanka is responding.
What she's saying is this documentary should be a catalyst for speedier judicial process is the point that Khusboo has been trying to make. December 16 brought in tougher laws. What she's trying to say is this documentary should be a catalyst for speedier judicial trial for this particular case is what she's trying to say. I do not think she's making a case for airing that documentary. She's not making a case for that documentary.
One minute. Every single act, 1 second. 1 minute. So Khusboo, the counter to you is Khusboo, the counter to you is the counter to you is simple. 1 second. The counter to you is simple. The whole country knows. The whole country knows how these people, they raped and killed Nirbhaya. Okay, don't tell me that you need to go into graphic details of how the act was committed in the words of the rapist. 1 minute, let me complete. In the words of the rapist, there will be some voyeuristic people who may tune on to a TV channel to say, this is what the rapist looks like. Look at his face when he's describing what happened. Look at his actions. Look at his eyes. But I can tell you, Khusboo, you can fight rape without giving a rapist this kind of publicity. It will encourage others. Mr. Kakkar is saying something. Mr. Kakkar, there are better ways to combat rape. This is the silliest excuse to get eyeballs.
I want to say that
shameful.
So far, Miss Khusboo was saying something which is contrary to the position she has taken now. We do not need to give more publicity to a very heinous act of these criminals. I will only suggest, see, there is a judicial process and there is an executive orders. If I am there, I will straight away seize all that this documentary has. I will register a case, arrest the person, and then let them go to the court. Let them go to the court. I'll make sure that this is not aired in India at least. BBC can do anything outside, but in India I will not permit them to air this.
No, but Khusboo, this will, I'll tell you what will happen. I'll tell you what will happen. Khusboo, look at it very practically. 1 second, Khusboo, 1 minute. Khusboo, let me.
Wait a minute, Arnab. No, I will not. Because I need
No, you need to listen, Khusboo. You need to listen, Khusboo.
No, you don't have to fight on this.
Khusboo, listen to me. Listen to me, Khusboo. It's not war between you and me. I'm just saying something to you.
I am saying we have discussed Nirbhaya in a very explicit manner in your channel, on your show when I was fighting for Nirbhaya. I have been as to how and which horrendous way she was raped. I was on your channel. Let me tell you, we do not want to go this on air, but I want to use his words, the culprit's words, against him in the court to give him an immediate
No, 1 second, Khusboo, thank you. 1 second, now I'll say something to you. Now you listen to me. You've spoken. I heard you. Now you must also listen to me. I want to tell you a couple of things. There is no convincing that is left to be done. If you look at what the court has said, everybody's used words such as 1 minute, let me complete. You hear my full argument here. 1, they've spoken of extreme mental perversion, unprovoked crime, exceptional depravity, beastly behavior, and they have spoken of the kind of brutality which has happened in detail, so the courts know about it, the conviction has happened. Okay, after that, some documentary filmmaker goes and interviews this person. They are also aware of what Nirbhaya went through. The people who want to air it are also aware of what Nirbhaya went through. Tomorrow, it will become a profession for some people. They will start interviewing pedophiles, and some channels will start showing documentaries on pedophiles. They'll say, we are trying to fight pedophilia. And tomorrow somebody will put out murderers, you know, serial murderers. They'll go and interview the murderers. Some channels will put it out and say, no, this is not voyeurism. We are exposing murderers. I mean, there has to be this is the most shallow argument, that I have to give a platform to these people. 1 minute. And further than that, you are a very, very vocal person on several issues. I am asking you today, person to person, citizen to citizen, human being to human being, I am asking you today, Khusboo, a simple question. There is a person out there who describes how he raped a 10-year-old girl. The child lives. And the person says the child was poor, does not deserve to live, doesn't matter. She's still poor. She still lives. But you know what is happening, Khusboo? I feel this is defamation of the worst kind. One act of defamation on a person who is dead, and one act of defamation on a poor child who's living. You know, this is not a league, this is a moral argument, Khusboo. I am questioning the morals. I am questioning the morals of my great profession. And I too am a journalist. I do not believe that to do journalism you need to do this.
Any documentary here.
We do documentaries, we do journalism. This is not journalism.
Why these poverty?
This is not journalism. This is not journalism. And the BBC should know. The BBC should know. The BBC should also know today whether in the United Kingdom they would have been allowed to put on air an interview like this.
My argument is,
you can't do it in the UK. You don't do it in my country.
When people like them have been convicted of the crime, when they have been said, when it has been proved that they have committed such a horrendous, heinous crime, when they are not human but they are monsters and beasts, argument is simple.
This would not be put on air in the United Kingdom.
Khusboo, why?
You don't put it on air in my country.
Very clear. I am not.
We are here to discuss the document.
And then don't come and give us lectures on journalism.
I am not saying allowed to go on air. I am saying do not allow to go on air. But I am also saying.
And you know what? I'm saying this. I'm saying this tonight. I'm saying this tonight. 1 second. I am told, I'm not sure, but Meryl Streep and Frida Pinto are going to inaugurate this film now in America, worldwide.
Oh my God.
This is so unacceptable.
This should be absolutely condemned.
This is so wrong. I think it will only put a moral compass to it and ask yourself whether we can go through it.
Each and every daughter of this country, not only daughter of this country, entire female.
Anyway.
Every Indian woman, in fact, every woman throughout the world, I would say, is insulted by even the making of a documentary like this.
There are ways to expose rape. This is not one of them.
See, Mr. Goswami, the problem is not with regards to his interview, if I may be allowed to come in.
Vasundhara, go on, but we'll close after this.
I have no qualms. If an accused is interviewed and if his version is telecasted or published. But I have regret and I have strong objection where an accused who does not even have an iota of remorse or repentance in his attitude and his version is being telecasted with the caution, with the caveat to the women folk, holding them responsible for such offences being committed to them is highly deplorable.
Well, I think, you know, if people who are wanting to put this on air thought India has a short public memory on this, India does not have a short memory. And India is watching tonight. I thank you all for joining me on debate number 1 on the Newshour tonight.